Okay, my name's Andy Swan. It's 4 p.m. UK time on Monday, and as the clocks went this weekend, there's a 5-hour time difference with the US, so you are 11 a.m. on the East Coast. The rest of you can work out your time zones wherever you may be. This is Give Out But Don't Give Up. I think it's a great time to give out. So, the first thing we're going to give out about this week is technology. So most of us are working from home. We discussed that a lot last week. Funnily enough, last week I was still, and he still hasn't actually installed the Wi-Fi. So we're working literally off of thin air to try and make this happen. The laptop's gone down 3 times. Software is crashing. We have a guest this week who we're trying to get in who is actually struggling with Skype, which I myself have struggled to plug into the system. So yeah, we're going to see how this goes. We're probably going to go for about 25-30 minutes this week, but when we can get him on the line, I'm really excited that this week we are going to be joined by Ali Wolf Milstead, manager of the Clapham Grand music venue in London. So for any of you who know or don't know the venue, it's about a 1,200 capacity venue in London. They cover everything from music events to comedy at the moment. So we are going to speak to Ali this week and see what his experiences are. If you would like to ask Ali a question, please use the live streaming capability on YouTube. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm hoping you're going to be able to hear him. This is a complete brand new setup. In case you missed last week's episode, the very first episode of Give Out But Don't Give Up, it is now available on YouTube. We've uploaded it there, even though it went out on Facebook Live. You can catch up on that. So last week, just to recap, as all of this was pretty new, we answered a lot of viewers' questions on remote working, flexible working, distance working, how to stay in contact with your teams, how to cope with the change, how to cope with the differences of working from home when you may have other pressures like homeschooling happening at the same time, and obviously all the pressures of life. We discovered whether it's right to start a passion project in the current circumstances, all of these different things. It was a really cool show. Via contacting us. Best way to contact the show is Andy at andyswan.io with 2 N's in Swan. You can find me on Twitter at Andy Swan, Instagram at Human Andy Swan, and anywhere else you can track me down. But do get in touch. We always love to hear your comments and questions, and we will do our best to answer them. So before we get going and speak to Ali, this is pretty tense because he's still wrestling with Skype. I've just had a comment from him. I was trying to work out whether we should swear this week because I think we've all been kind of different. It affects us in different ways, and I think a week in, most of us are either getting used to it and finding a rhythm, or we're completely at our wits' end. I have to admit myself, today's been a very frustrating day. There have been a number of times where I've just wanted to yell or jump out of the window, and actually it's not great for the people around you when you have to deal with that stress, and it's very stressful times. One of the other things I want to give out about this week is the banks. I know the government has set up the help for businesses, and it's great. And the UK Business Bank, so speaking from a UK perspective here, the UK Business Bank has 40 plus providers, as they tell you on their website, ready to dish out the government support package. However, if you try and contact any of the banks are only helping their own customers. If you try and contact your own bank, they will give you a phone message saying they're working on reduced staff because of the current situation. So all the traffic is being funneled to the banks. The banks are dealing with reduced capability, which makes the whole thing very frustrated, because if you are scared senseless about paying your employees, about staying in business, about paying your suppliers who also need the money to keep their own businesses going at this time, then it's very difficult, and the pressure on so many people is amazing, particularly when they're confined to their own spaces. So that's one thing I want to give out about this week. In general terms, though, we're all in it together. Everybody's doing an amazing job. We have to shout out the NHS, as always, doing an amazing job. Everybody did a great job in the UK, clapping out their windows. I know the rest of the world is facing this stuff as well. Really interesting to see that Sweden are dealing with it very differently to the way we're experiencing here in the UK, what we're seeing happening in the US and elsewhere in Europe and other parts of the world as well. So yeah, I may next week talk to someone in Sweden. I think one of the future shows we're going to speak to somebody who homeschools anyway. So Rich and Lucy, I'm thinking of you. I'm going to come for you next week, I think. But yeah, we will get through this together. So please share any comments, and let's see what we can do. Okay, so I've just had a missed call from Ali come through on my mobile, which says to me that he's not going to be able to get hold of us on Skype. I'm going to try, and let's just call him back, see what happens, and see if you can pick him up on the See if this comes through here. I'm hoping you're all hearing this. If you can't hear, then send me a message. There's a huge delay on this anyway.
Swan, how are you?
How are you doing? Right, so here's the thing. I'm guessing Skype isn't working?
Well, for some reason now, to log into Skype, Microsoft Office asks you for some logins. I don't know why.
Happy days. It's the modern world.
And, oh, hang on. I'm in.
You're in. Okay, cool. Because I'm calling you live from the show right now. So I was gonna hold you up against the microphone. So this is proof we're going live. If anything, I think we'll try Skype. If not, then we'll just hold you up against the microphone.
A microscope?
Yeah,
Sure.
You're always under the microscope. But yeah, it would be great if people can see your beautiful face. So let's see if we can do a Skype. If you send me a quick message with your username, and then I'll, as they say in the trade, patch you in, and we'll see what we can do.
It's just I'm getting the spinning wheel of
Doom.
Skype death. So.
Well, I mean, the show's called Give Up But Don't Give Out. I've already given out about the banks and my own short temper. So, I mean, if you want to give out about Skype or anything like that, then do feel free.
I think I should give out about being middle-aged and not knowing how to use technology properly.
It is pathetic, isn't it? I've been on so many support forums today as my laptop died without bashing my head off a wall, but.
Okay, I'm trying to log in again. This is proving to be.
It's the excitement. I mean, this is live tension right now. You wouldn't get this anywhere else, would you?
Technological problems live on air.
It's incredible. I mean, people must be on the edge of their seats right now, looking at me sitting in my living room, holding a phone in front of a microphone.
Which living room are you in?
I'm in my Bournemouth living room. That makes me sound horribly pretentious. In my little roof flat in Bournemouth. Yeah, because obviously I'm quarantined in the UK at the moment. No ability to return to the US anytime soon.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
So who knows? Who knows when that will change?
Who knows when the future will change?
Exactly. I'm just trying to work out if I can get a picture of you up on my phone that I can hold up. Let me see if I can do that. Let's start talking. Right. So. Let's get a bit of background on you. I mean, obviously, you and I did an episode of the Life Work podcast we recorded last summer, and we were talking about how you'd taken this music venue, an entertainment venue in London, and you kind of rebuilt it, you got it going again, and it was really up and running to where you wanted it to be. And obviously, the world has changed a little bit in the last few weeks. So I'm just really keen, first of all, to get tell us how this unfolded for you.
So obviously. It's
a quick thing suddenly
able to not go out.
Yeah,
we had some inquiries, generally speaking, from slightly older customers. Anyone under the age of 30 didn't really seem to be bothered by it. And the week before, we felt customers were being a little bit uneasy about it. And obviously we did everything we thought we should do to make it look like we were super clean and hygienic and offering hand sanitizer and all the rest of it, which ultimately, is futile. The public were prepared to go out. By the end of that weekend, there was a definite feeling, even amongst people in their 20s, who had previously felt quite robust against it, that ultimately, irrespective of what the government were going to say, people were beginning to feel very unsafe going out en masse. And then obviously Boris went on and did what he did, and then from then on in, obviously, we're being closed. Wow. So it feels like it's been incredibly quick, actually, considering what's happened. It's been a very short space of time.
Wow, incredible. So obviously, when something happens that quickly, you have to react. So what do you do? I mean, your entire industry has been mothballed. So before we come on to the implications of that and what the industry is going to do to try and get through it and all the options, what do you do? Like day one when it's like, shit, we're closing now, and all of our revenue streams we're locked out of our revenue streams as of now. Like what do you do?
I mean, you just I don't know. What did we do? We kind of I don't know. It's really hard to say because I still don't think we fully know what to do, other than we obviously had to talk to our customers, tell them that shows weren't going ahead, ask them to move things back a little bit in the diary to a date that could conceivably be when we're trading again. Yeah. Obviously, you have to tell all your staff that we're not open on X date. What's going on so we don't have a definitive message to tell the people that we work with or that are working for us. But you have to keep communication open, because otherwise everyone just freaks out. I guess ultimately we've been hanging off of the government on a daily basis to find out what they're prepared to offer, and then waiting for that to come into reality in the back end, which is still an ongoing process. Making sure our staff, this had just happened to us and not anyone else, it would have prevented there being a big negative fallout within the industry itself.
Yeah.
So if it had just happened to the Grand and the business had just stopped trading, we'd have obviously been in a really awful situation with staff and clients and customers and creditors, etc. But because it's happened to everyone all at the same time, everyone's a little bit more understanding about the situation, which has thankfully given everyone a bit more time and made it a bit more pleasant, because it could obviously be, I mean, it's not been pleasant in many ways, but it could have been horrific if everyone hadn't felt it at the same time. There'd been a shared sense of responsibility and I'm going to use the word camaraderie, but it sounds a bit too jovial, but that kind of one for all and all for one, we're kind of, let's try and get through this without hurting anyone unnecessarily, just for our own survival, because ultimately everyone needs to survive, otherwise we're pretty much fucked.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you kind of almost don't have a choice, do you? When your backs are against the wall, kind of that badly, it's not like someone can have a tantrum and just say, you know, oh, I'm angry that, you know, my livelihood's been affected or this or that, because it's no one's fault. Like it's no one's fault that there's a virus sweeping the world, and you know, you could debate the kind of approaches that governments have taken in preventing it or locking it down, but actually when circumstances are as they are, you have no real choice but to deal with them.
No, completely. And it's been a case of working out what's best for the business in the long term, what's best for the business in the short term, and what's best for our staff, because ultimately it's a chicken and egg scenario. You know, without staff you don't have a business, but without a business there's no jobs for the staff, so you've got to work out who to prioritise and how best to balance things to make everyone be okay.
I think that's a really interesting point. So I saw a post that you shared on social media the other day, when I first got the idea to do this. And by the way, I've put you on a tripod, and there's a picture of you taking a selfie of yourself in front of a fan, the day we did the podcast interview. So I've kind of got you on screen. It's not perfect. It's not as great as having you here, but yeah. So that's the starting point. So I saw a post that you shared on social media. I think from GAY, and they were saying about they're trying to negotiate rent with the landlords. I mean, obviously they're not bringing in any revenue. The landlords have said they can only postpone rent. But obviously, if things went for 3 months, there was something like they would owe like 800 grand in back rent. How, like, if that happens and costs are mounting, how are entertainment venues, companies, you know, concert promoters, anybody who makes their money out of all of this stuff that can't happen at the moment, at what point, like, are you unable to go, yes, we can carry this anymore, and or even if we can carry it, there's no way we'll ever recoup this?
I think the grim reality of the situation is what could end up happening is that you're left with Live Nation and AEG, basically the two biggest tour promoters / venue operators, who are large enough to swallow the short-term lack of revenue and the loss of income and still be able to front money to operate, to be ready to reopen and to retrade. Because the problem that a lot of independents and all the smaller people will have is not only is there the backlog of the rent that's going to build up and any other fixed rates that haven't been, it's all well and good granting people a stay of execution on paying something, but if they've still got to end up paying it in the end, it doesn't really make a difference, because no one's revenue is big enough to support backdated 3 months.
Yeah, like a quarter of a year worth of revenue. You have to.
Without any, but the biggest problem people are going to have apart from that is the fact that in order to start getting trading again, you need an X amount of money to kick things off with. And although obviously I'm tiny compared to the majority of big businesses, you know, if I want to start booking talent for shows in let's say July, August, or September, I need deposits to secure their bookings. I need marketing spend up front to start actioning campaigns, and there is none. There is none of that revenue. So the sad fact is that the large corporations will be able to afford to ride it out, and there are probably some very thrifty independents, of which I think I actually include the Grand in that, who have the ability to be incredibly versatile and thrifty and work the system and find a way of surviving. Probably more one-site operators rather than medium chains. I think anyone that's in a medium chain of multiple site occupiers will struggle a lot because they are too big to operate on do a 3-point turn basically, but not big enough to swallow.
I mean, I guess at that scale, the overheads are magnified, but the revenues aren't up to that corporation level.
Exactly. So I think hand on heart and crossing fingers and touching wood and all the rest of it, I think the Grand will survive, although it's going to be very painful and will probably set us back at least 2 years in progression, if that makes sense. Because we're going to be chasing our tail. But the business will survive because I think the operator is very shrewd and we are quite versatile. Flexible, but I think for the majority of the industry, it could potentially be catastrophic unless the government step in and do something in relation to rents, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so from a planning point of view, on a daily basis at the moment, obviously being unable to do everything, how far ahead are you looking? Is there a date where you think, okay, things are going to be back online now? Are you planning for certain dates, or is it just literally every day taking it as it comes?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone from thinking it was going to be June to July, and then literally in the last 24 hours, September. But I'm not really basing that off any hard fact. It seems to be this kind of weird communal feeling that myself and a lot of other people that do the similar jobs have, which is it could be as late as September, but we can't be caught without anything in the diary from
just in case.
June onwards. So what on earth do we do about that?
Yeah, right. So how do you see this going? Are you planning for literally, everybody's in lockdown at the moment, everybody's staying at home, doing the right thing, as they should, apart from footballer Jack Grealish, who everybody would have seen in the news today, who had quite a big night. So assuming everybody else is doing the right thing, so do you see, as from an entertainment industry point of view and a hospitality industry point of view, do you think, like, literally when the lockdown gets lifted, and there's talk from the government and the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, and again, we're talking from a UK perspective, but it echoes a lot of other countries, that this will be a gradual thing, gradually things will get lifted and life will get back to normal. Will there be a point where, like, the nation heaves a sigh of relief and everybody goes out because they haven't been out for months? Or do you think people will be scared of each other? People will be more wary of being in congregated places for an amount of time, and it will take time to kind of win that kind of happiness about going out again?
That's $1 million question, and I don't know is the answer to that. I think the government will open things in stages. I think they will. I think apart from football, which is the only really large mass gathering, I think they'll allow that to happen sooner in terms of scale, because I feel like it's so inherently built into the culture of our society that in order to get some normality back, that might have to happen quicker. I think things like festivals, there's no chance of them happening until next summer, I don't think, because they're not necessary to everyday life. They put a lot of resources on regional hospitals and regional key workers. I think they'll probably open restaurants earlier than they'll open clubs. It might go restaurants, pubs, and then it might be clubs and venues, and they'll stagger it in that respect. With regards to people's attitudes to going out, I think we will see reservations on behalf of maybe the older 30 plus crowd who might be slightly more hesitant about going out to venues which put people in really large vertical drunk numbers, basically. But I think for the younger audience, unless something shifts in terms of people that are directly affected by the virus health-wise, I don't think there will be a resistance from them to go back out en masse, basically.
That just, yeah.
But I think anyone who's probably between the age of 35 and 50 might feel a little bit more uncomfortable about getting in the thick of it in a 2, 3, 4,000 capacity venue and bigger. But I think anyone under 30 is probably won't care.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been funny this last week with, we're still allowed out to exercise once a day, and I think people are doing that. It's interesting to see. I mean, my own parents, my dad's just hit 70 and is officially at risk, but he's probably more active now than he was before this, because he takes his opportunity for his daily walk to go and get some fresh air, and he doesn't go too far or goes around the block or something, but actually it's something he wouldn't have done anyway. So that's a weird kind of byproduct of it. But I noticed, kind of going for a walk in the last week, like we were walking down a footpath right near our house, and some people coming the other way saw us coming, and instead of just kind of moving away, it was about 2 meters wide, the path, they literally turned and ran back to the start of the path and crossed the street until we were past. And it was just kind of like, are we really getting that scared of each other? But I guess people have their own kind of terror around it, or kind of version of what's sensible and what's safe and what's not. And I think it's been interesting to see how kind of some people are supportive, but then we've gone from kind of being judgmental to kind of all pulling together to now everybody's getting very judgmental of each other again about, is this essential? Is this non-essential? Should you do this? And, should self-employed builders go to work, because otherwise, they'll end up on the streets, and is that essential? And it's, I guess there's a lot of kind of moving parts on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think I think it's just going to shift weekly. I think the first week was a bit novel and everyone got really excited about it, and it was a unique, positive experience, and everyone was doing live streams and joining things online and clapping for the NHS and all the rest of it, which is obviously completely the right thing to do. But then I think as the monotony drags on, people might suddenly start to question whether it's necessary or not, and find counter arguments against it.
Yeah.
What I hope doesn't happen is I hope this doesn't prevent people. I don't want it to become a long-term distancer of society, because I think that'd be a really bad negative experience. But you could see some elements of that happening. It all feels a bit Black Mirror at times, and you could quite easily see this as being the beginning of some kind of long, drawn-out process to turn us all into a really horrible vision of the future.
Insular society, yeah, absolutely.
But I think our inbuilt, inherent nature to socialise will prevent that happening. Yeah, and the fact the economy needs it to happen as well. Ultimately. Well,
absolutely. I mean, we've got to remember as well, for what we may or may not think of the government support as businesses, that's all money that's got to get paid back somehow. That's money that's got to either be generated back in taxes, or the government has to pay it back for however they're raising it. Showing my severe lack of economic knowledge here, but it's not money that exists and someone's just dipped in their pocket out of the their self kind of niceness and just handed out. That money's got to be given back.
I dread to think how that's going to happen.
No, but to that note, the economy has to come back. We can't just say, let's all stay indoors forever, because otherwise, if we do that, let's face it, all the money on the planet goes to Amazon and Disney Plus, who are absolutely killing it at the moment. Disney Plus couldn't have had a better time to launch, I don't think.
No.
But you got to be in the right place.
Zoom done really well.
Oh yeah, Zoom are winning, and House Party as well. So I mean, I guess there are always winners in every situation. Right, so tell us. I mean, obviously, the message is that for people, I guess, from your point of view, you want people to stay kind of connected with the community around your venue. Keeping in touch with the social media, seeing what's happening, and keeping that conversation going, so that when things do start to open up, then people know what's happening and start to come back out and support their local venue or their favourite venue.
Yeah, I think it's keeping people engaged, keeping people aware that you exist, although ultimately when people do get the chance to go out again, they're not going to have forgotten you exist. Trying to trying to keep people engaged, trying to entertain people online like you'd entertain people within the venue itself is key. Trying to keep the staff and the team engaged, because that's a really tricky thing. You've gone from having a large group of people that connected with each other on a work level 2, 3, 4, 5, anywhere up to 7 times a week in, week out for 4 years, and then suddenly that's gone. It can affect people a little bit, and trying to keep those people together creatively, even though obviously they're not working for the company at the moment, but they're furloughed with regards to re-employment is tricky, and I think it's quite early into that stage for me to have.
And how are you approaching that? Do you have any advice for other people going through the same thing to try and keep that morale there?
I think communication is key. Chat to people. I think maybe chat to people on a personal level than talk to people on a professional level to begin with. Until we've got real clarification about how this is working with regards to payment periods, contracts and everything, I think you don't want to send any mixed messages until you've got a definitive message to put on that front. I think in the interim it's just about being personable and staying in touch with people and letting people know that because the other thing is everyone's going through it's a bit of a life-changing experience for everyone on a personal level. Suddenly dealing with a global pandemic, and a lot of people had to move home. People who were renting properties whose contracts were up decided they weren't going to renew contracts. It felt not a good period of time to be having to be committed to rent and move back with their parents. People are stuck on their own in solitary isolation. I think on a mental level, outside of work, it's a very strange period of time for people, and I think people need to adjust to that personally first before we try and kind of really structure in how this is going to work in a working capacity, because I think the upheaval on a personal level is big, and people might not have actually realised that yet as well.
Yeah, you think it'll take some time for that to really sink in?
I think so, because it's all happened so quickly. It's absurd to think that suddenly you've gone from everyday life to now only being allowed out once a day.
Yeah.
And when you do go to the shop, everyone's wearing face masks and gloves, and it feels really oppressive. And then you're sitting on a government message at 5 o'clock every day to tell you an update on a death count, and it's like, whoa.
It feels like an apocalyptic video game. Like when the chief medical officer comes up with his sinister commercial, the advert that's on TV the whole time, and then you take a walk out, and when you do take your walk, so from where I live, Bournemouth Pier isn't very far. So on our daily walk, we quite often go past Bournemouth Pier, and the whole the front of the building on Bournemouth Pier is flashing up a big message just saying "Stay home," and it really looks like the kind of thing you'd see in a crazy zombie horror video game where the whole world has just ended. And it's so weird, it's so kind of eerie when you do go out, and everybody's a bit suspicious and kind of lurking in the shadows, and it's odd.
Yeah, it's really, and no one would, no one younger than 80 has probably lived through anything of this scale before. It's the biggest thing to happen to our society since World War II.
Yeah.
With regards to the effect it's got on the economy, on day-to-day life, and because of that, no one really knows what to do. So again, because no one knows what to do, I think it's a little bit better because everyone is in the same boat. I think the big positive I think out of it is the fact that I think it's going to bring the country together in a more of a positive way, and I think we've had a very fractious period of time, even predating Brexit, probably from the recession in 2008, I think it was. I think life has been a little bit fractured in terms of our society, and I would like to think a positive that might come out of this is that it will have pulled us together more. I cross fingers on that anyway.
I mean, it's funny. It's in as much as we're all relying on the internet at the moment. Even now to do this. It's been funny. There seems to have been this kind of change of pace. Life has been speeding up and speeding up and speeding up as smartphones have come in and all of this technology has come through, and we're all kind of hyper connected and always on and always doing this and always doing that. And it almost feels this is kind of reset the pace of life back to how it used to feel just before the internet came in. And which is weird because we're using the internet so much at this time. But there's just that kind of collective sigh of relief of the world to just maybe calm down a bit, despite the fact that, all of those of us who are kind of at-risk workers, who are trying to keep businesses afloat, are, panicking behind closed doors every day. You still can kind of get that, the kind of the breathing space for that change of pace.
Yeah, it's definitely a big reset moment in many ways for society, for businesses, for the economy. I think it's an opportunity to take stock of stuff, change how we operate for hopefully the greater good and the greater benefit of society as a whole. Look, I was listening to some work-based podcasts because I'm having to kind of relearn how to manage a team that's remote rather than just a team in the same building. And a lot of people's thought process is this is actually going to tidy up a lot of work and cut out a lot of the crap and make people refine what they do a little bit more and make things better. Fingers crossed. I guess ultimately this depends upon A, how bad it gets, and then B, how positive our leadership is to bring us back out of it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is that the Conservative government as it stands? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting in that everything is unknown right now. I don't think that I've ever known a period where everything is so completely unknown that you're almost like, well, whatever I do could be right or could be wrong. It's kind of an adventure, and it's terrifying as well. But
it is. But what's interesting is that everyone's kind of taking it in their stride.
Yeah.
Like, considering how weird the last 2 weeks have been, I don't feel like everyone's gone mental.
No, because
I don't feel like the world's about to fall apart. I feel like everyone's been like, right, okay, well.
I guess because it is what it is. It's like it's just going to happen. There's no choice, is there? It's not like it's not like there's an oppressive regime to kind of rise up and revolutionise against. This is what it is. It's something affecting the whole of humanity. I think something like someone was saying that about a third of the entire population of the world is now kind of on lockdown and staying at home, which is crazy. But yeah, it's kind of I guess not an adventure. It's a challenge for humanity and societies and communities and individuals and businesses, just to see, okay, what can we cope with?
Yeah.
Let's see what the next few weeks bring. So with that in mind, I want to know, before I let you go, how are you feeling your days? What are you doing other than obviously the stress of dealing with work? How are you adjusting to this new way of life?
Well, on a professional level, it's just strange not having the formula of my day-to-day existence and being kind of training myself to work 50, 60 hours a week and not have any spare time, to now having the potential to have a lot of spare time and not having the format of my work, and trying not to slip into bad habits of laziness.
Yeah.
Personally, try not to eat too much, because obviously you're just sat at home, so you could just eat all day long. Got to be very wary of that. Trying to do some physical exercise, because just base level, I'd be able to do 25,000 steps a day at work. Those now dissipated completely. And mentally, I think trying to see the positives of the situation, not the negative, to be able to pull myself through this, to be able to land on my feet and carry on again when I've got the opportunity to open the venue again, is key. Because I'm trying to not think about how much time we've lost in this happening, and put it more into perspective of, but what can we gain out of having a slight break from actually being open, to prepare ourselves better for when we do open again.
Yeah, I think that's a great outlook. As somebody once said, give out but don't give up.
There you go. There you wrapped up perfectly.
Nice. Awesome. Right. Well, I think because of the fact my phone has just told me it's about to die, and I have you on my phone on a tripod right here, I think that's probably a great opportunity to bring this conversation round to a close. So tell everybody who wants to kind of understand what you're up against, or wants to support the Grand, or find out more about the venue that you run, or just to stay engaged, where's the best place for people to visit? Because like you say, people have time, maybe they can look you up and investigate.
Just go on find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us, engage in our content, what we're doing at the moment, sign up to the mailing list. As soon as we've got events back on again, we'll let you know when we're open. what we're not asking people to do is to donate to us as a cause. I think people will be in their own financial problem. People will have their own financial problems in their own lives.
Yeah.
We are a business. We'll sort ourselves out. But just make sure you come back to us when we're open again, and that's when we want your money, when we can give you the product that your money pays for. We're not a charity. We are a business. But just hang in there and then come and have a good time when we're open.
Amazing. I think that's an awesome message. And on that note, I'm going to thank you so much for taking the time and for dining in. I'm going to share the photo of you with your biggest fan that I have on my tripod here. I'll share that on social media. Well, Ali, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And
Thanks,
and this is great. And it's great for people to get a bit of insight as to what's happening, behind the closed doors of some of these places that we all know and love. So wishing you all the best, and you will come out the other side, as we all will. And I'll see you in there.
Take it easy, man.
Nice one. Thanks, man. Take it easy. See you. Okay, right. That was Ali Wolfe-Milstead, manager of the Clapham Grand Music and Entertainment Venue in London. Giving out but not giving up, clearly. Hope you enjoyed hearing his story. As always, please do share any comments or questions with us. We will get back to answering some of your questions next week. If you want to ask about remote working, or like Ali was talking about how you keep team morale while people are completely dispersed and maybe there's confusion and they don't know how to work, then do get in touch. We're always happy to hear from you. Remember, we are at, you can check the website, andyswan.io, 2 N's in Swan. There's a page for Give Out But Don't Give Up there, and there's our contact form, or you can email andy@andyswan.io. I'm sure there's a proper email address for the show, but it's escaping me right now. On Twitter @AndySwan, on Instagram @HumanAndySwan. But otherwise, in the meantime, we will be back 4 p.m. UK time next Monday. Let us know any subjects you want to hear about. Send us your questions. But in the meantime, have a good week and give out, but don't give up.